Hello again, America. I had not planned on making a video quite so soon as my last one, but the auspices of bad news forced my hand into making this video. Sadly, it does seem that there are many of those out there who wish to see the rights of the American people stripped away, and they seem, or at the very least appear, to be growing in number. We have even a few Republican candidates who at one time claimed to be pro-gun, ready to buckle at a knee to serve the will of those who would usurp power. Tonight, unfortunately, we saw one more. Talking points. This is still unscripted. This is just one sheet. This is a list of things to go over. Everything that comes out of my mouth will be, as of course, unscripted, and this will be one take. Retired General McCrystal, United States Army, unfortunately went on Anderson Cooper tonight and spoke out against, quote-unquote, civilians having access to assault weapons. He went on to further say that he does not trust civilians with, quote-unquote, military-grade weapons of war. He went on to further state that during his tenure in both Iraq and Afghanistan, that there was a quote-unquote trust deficit between the United States civilian population and the orders given from the White House. He went on to further say that this deficit also, quite naturally, continued on with both the Iraqi and Afghanistani population towards the United States military. Back to the point of him speaking out against quote-unquote so-called assault weapons. Of last I checked, every last soldier has to take an oath to uphold the Constitution and the law of the land, not the elected officials. Him speaking out against so-called assault weapons, I said with full quotation marks, proves that this man is one of three things. Number one, that means that basically this man is woefully undereducated and given poor intel. Number two, this means this man is wholly ignorant to weapons laws as a whole. This does not strike me as being fitting for a man of his stature. One does not become a general by being ignorant. One can become a general by many means, through good training, the right bloodline, proper resolve. Just a few ways to become a general, but all ways show that you are intelligent and deserving of command status. And the most troublesome thing that this could possibly make him is number three. With this statement that he proclaimed on nationwide news, he has allied himself with the seditionists who wish to strip the rights away from us American citizens. And in doing so, he has betrayed his oath. I am hoping against hope that number one or number two are the more likely possibilities. For number three means that not only can a standard buck private forget his oath and betray the spirit of the law, as well as the spirit of the United States Army, or any branch of the military for that matter, but the fact that soldiers of the highest echelon can also forget their oaths which they swore. When one takes this oath to protect and serve against threats both foreign and domestic, it is not meant to be lip service. It is an oath to be taken dearly. We must uphold this oath. We must respect this oath. As a reminder to what we have to lose, this gun is clear. Falls under Einstein's assault weapon ban. This also falls under the magazine ban. And sadly, this falls under what General McCrystal, quote unquote, does not feel safe with civilians such as you or I with. And it's not so much the gun itself, it's the magazine. This is a Heckler & Koch USP 45. This particular model was made in 1994 during the Clinton assault weapons ban. I know the very history of this weapon, but this weapon was issued to a police officer that I know. This magazine, at the time of 1994, when the weapon was instated, was in fact illegal for quote-unquote civilians to own. I later came into possession of this weapon last year, and I still have my magazines which are marked for law enforcement or military use only, 1094. The 1094 refers to the date, the passing of the assault weapons ban. This is no different than a 1911 or no different than any single stack pistol. The capacity is merely 12 plus 1. Granted, this is a take on what the U.S. military considered in writing for U.S. SOCOM. The pistol I'm referring to is the Mark 23, this gun's larger brother, as a quote-unquote assault sidearm. Now, the problem with that definition is our own military has gone back over and redefined, changed the definition of what an assault weapon is. Now granted, the Mark 23 was meant to be used by Special Forces units in close-up assaults where one could not carry a Mark 18 or similar rifle. This is the smaller version of that firearm. It features safety and no separate decocker, unlike the Mark 23. It still has the lam rail, whether it be loved or despised, as the Mark 23. It has a shorter barrel than the Mark 23. But the magazine is at the same 12-round capacity. I choose this firearm for the simple fact that I have time on it. I know this weapon inside and out, and I will refer to this as a weapon, not just a firearm. For if something breaks through my door, this is the first gun I grab. This is my anti-home invasion gun, if you will. It's reliable, it's accurate, I know it inside and out. I can field strip it blindfolded. This acts as an extension of me. We're seeing politicians turn left and right against firearms such as this in an effort to quote-unquote do something about the recent rash of mass shootings. I'm not going to downplay the disaster that has been the recent rash of mass shootings. They've all been tragedies, and they all could have been averted. but I guarantee you none of them could have been averted by taking the magazines away. During 1994, the only difference between this magazine, which was unlawful for any civilian to have, and the lawful magazines was a separation of exactly 2 rounds, 2 bullets. That's all it took. An arbitrary definition pinned on a haphazard, woefully underthought law which achieved nothing, pinned in with a simple stroke of our president's fountain pen. Congress voted on it, the president endorsed it. And that's proof that we can be defeated. We must not let ourselves sink to that level. We must not lose. Yet again, I'm going to put forth the link for congress.org. I'll put it down below in the description bar. Note that when you use congress.org to send your message, that it goes not only to your congressional members and your senators, it also goes to our chief of staff. It goes directly to the president as well. We need to, as a united front of responsible gun owners, those of us who choose to take the responsibility for our actions and act in a civil manner, we must be responsible for the actions of the firearms community. Tell your friends, tell your lovers, tell your young ones, tell your elders, tell your co-workers, tell everyone you genuinely care for to write, call, let your voice be heard. I'm trying my best to keep these videos brief, but there are moments when there will be a bit of extension. As a side note, many of you are familiar with a company known as Noveske Rifle Works, a fine company. I wholeheartedly endorse every last product they have ever made, and I am not paid to say so. I have never been paid one dime by any of them. The reason I mention them is, unfortunately, we have lost one of our own recently. I shoot this video partially to inform, but I also shoot it in memory of a very good man whose life was taken far, far too young. The founder of Noveske Rifle Works, John Noveske, unfortunately passed away on January 4th. He was in a fatal vehicle accident. We have lost a great innovator in the firearms community, a great patriot, and a great supporter of the Second Amendment. I say supporter of the Second Amendment, but really, if you got a chance to know him, even in passing, even if you only had a chance to talk to him for 5 to 10 minutes, you would know that he supported, backed, and believed in all of the amendments. Whether one believes in an afterlife or not, it's strictly a personal decision. But personally, for a man like that, who brought so much to bear, and had so many innovative ideas, I sincerely do hope there is an afterlife, and that it is a good one. I cannot say for sure, being an atheist. I do not know for sure, being an atheist. But, with that said, my sympathy goes out to his family, and my condolences go out to everyone he has touched. When I tell you to stay positive, America, I mean it for a reason. You must remain level-headed, calm, and rational at all times. It is a struggle for us to do so. We must maintain our emotions to a healthy level, but when speaking publicly, we must speak rationally and calmly. That is the only way for discussion to go forth. Yet again, as I've said more than a few times before, stay positive, America, and I hope that this next video that I post is under better auspices. I wish you all the best. Thank you, and good night.